right. What's up, family? For those of you watching this out there in YouTube land later on and even right now live, welcome. Thank you guys for coming to the show. We got some special guests today that I'm actually really excited to talk to and get some questions answered about business funding, and I know you guys are too. So we'll bring them up here in just a couple minutes. I'm sure you can kind of hear my voice. I sound a little weird. I found out yesterday that I have COVID. So my mom caught it and then I got it and now I'm having to deal with it. So, but guess what? We're still doing the podcast. Even though I don't feel 100%, right? We're still doing the podcast. Welcome to entrepreneurship, folks. That's what it's like.
I don't think you could get out of it even if you tried, Justin. Not
No, yeah.
me.
Yeah, Pansy would have given me a phone call and wouldn't let me rest anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered. So how are you doing, Pansy? You're probably doing better than I am.
I
That's for sure.
appear to be doing better than yourself, Justin, and
Yeah. Hmm.
sending you lots of healing your way.
Good. I
You feel
appreciate
better
that.
soon.
I appreciate that. They got all kinds of new stuff. My doc prescribed me this stuff called Paxlovid. I don't know if you've ever heard of that stuff, but it's a new antiviral, and it helps quite a bit with COVID. So we'll see how that goes. I don't feel like, I don't feel like I'm gonna drop dead or anything, but like it just depends. Everybody's different, right? I get it, and I feel like it's kind of a mild cold. Other people get it, and it's like they can't breathe, and so everybody's different. Hopefully everybody's been vaccinated, but that's a whole nother story. How people feel about vaccinations and whatnot. But
Yeah, let's not go down that road.
no, no, no. I'm not
Right.
going to go down that road. Don't worry. Don't worry. No, this is a business podcast, and we're going to talk business and business funding specifically for this episode. So I'm super excited to welcome these guys to the show. And if you know anything about it, it's Jimmy Fuentes and Juan Gomez. Let me bring them up here. What's up, Jimmy?
What's going on?
Hello. Thanks
Hey,
for joining
Juan.
us. Thanks for
Yeah.
What's up?
Yo, yo,
Thanks for having
yo.
me, guys.
Yeah, thank you guys, man. I really appreciate it. So for those who don't know Jimmy and Juan, um, you know, they've got some stuff going on. They've got a little empire built for themselves, and mostly too, they're really helping people, and that's what I really liked about this is it's not just about, of course we like making money, but they're also doing stuff to actually help new business owners and people figure this game out when we talk about real estate and business funding. So that's kind of what I wanted to get into, and we'll get into those questions. But maybe Jimmy, maybe you start off for people who don't know who you guys are, what you guys are doing. Maybe give us a little rundown of how you guys started in this, how you guys started in real estate, how you guys met, and we can go from there.
Yeah, for sure. First of all, appreciate the invite. Thank you
Of
for inviting
course.
us to the podcast. Super happy to be here. But
Mhm.
I
Of
guess a
course.
quick crash course. Me and Juan met back in high school, so we've been
Hmm.
buddies since 2006.
Hmm.
nice.
Wow.
Rough
Nice.
math. So we were friends first, roommates second, business partners third,
Yeah.
in like three different companies. Technically, first we were doing
Nice.
like some merchandise and stuff that we were doing online.
Mhm.
Then we got into real estate together, and now we're building Fruitful Funding together. So, uh, yeah, been a long time. But as
Mhm.
far as my background, I'll let Juan kind of tell his background. But my background, I've been self-employed basically my whole life.
Mhm.
Um, I have like one seasonal job that I'm mad that I had because now I can't fully say I've never had a job. So it's
Mhm.
like it's almost like like why did I do that? And it was
Yeah.
it was a legit seasonal job at like December for like 30 days. But I got like a legit
Wow.
W-2, so I just feel like a fraud if I say I never
Yeah.
had a job.
But you
Wow.
learned something, I'm sure, while being there for such a short period of time. I mean, we can
You
all
know,
learn something.
back then I didn't just because I was a young idiot. Um,
Yeah.
That
and it's
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah, and it's funny, some people did get permanent jobs, right? And back then I was like, man, why didn't they give me a job? I'm like, whatever, maybe it really was
Yeah.
seasonal. But I do remember like one or two that they actually grabbed. And I
Nice.
was always like, huh. But now looking back, I'm like, yeah, I was a dumbass. I was like, I was a good employee, but
Mhm.
like, for example, I'll give you a very quick example. They put me to like clean up a wall of denim,
Mhm.
and I'm a nurse, so I'm like in there, like I did that thing perfectly. I
Yeah.
probably spent the whole shift there. So now
Very
looking
detail
back,
oriented.
yeah, now
Yeah.
looking back, I'm like, you're a dumbass. Like they probably like, hey, spend an hour, 2 hours, make it look decent, but move the hell on. Like,
That's how my brain works too. Like I get super if it's something, I want to do and I want to do a good job at, I get hyper focused on it,
yeah.
right? Yeah, 100%, man.
I
Yeah,
think that's a
100%.
good quality though.
That is
And
a good
as far
quality.
as the seasonal thing, like I would purposely take those type of jobs because
Mhm.
I didn't want to necessarily do the exact same thing over and over and over for a long period of time. So
Yeah.
when I could catch a seasonal job like that, I'm like, I'll do that for a little while, and
Yeah.
I would like be the one like, don't hire me, don't hire me, don't hire
Yeah.
me.
That's funny.
So my question for you, Jimmy, is like, so you only have one job. You only have actually one seasonal job, and you've basically been self-employed the whole time. Um, I'm kind of well, I'm actually the direct opposite of that, and now I'm getting into entrepreneurship. Like, I've been in entrepreneurship before. Some failed stuff that I did early on when I was in my 20s. So I always know that spark was there. How did you know? Like, did you just know from the very beginning? Like, you just were over it? You were just over working for someone else?
Uh, I don't even think I got to that point because
Yeah.
I remember I made my first dollar when I was in third grade. Um,
Yeah,
and
it's a
and I always made money throughout my whole school career. I used to sell stickers when I was little. I actually have,
yeah.
check this out. I've been meaning to frame this, but this is my first business card that I made
Oh, that's amazing.
when I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah, nice. That's
I
So
was
like a
amazing.
like,
magnet with the like glued on.
no, this is like
It's
construction paper.
laminated. It's
Oh,
like laminated construction.
okay,
It's
Yeah,
construction
nice.
yeah.
paper, and my dad happened to have a lamination machine that I remembered, and I'm like, oh, I'm
Mhm.
gonna laminate it. Like I didn't even know how to properly make a business card. I
That's
But you
was
did it
like,
amazing.
anyway. That's all right. That's cool.
I must have been in fourth, fifth grade.
That's
Nice.
amazing.
Like who in fifth grade
Yeah.
has a business card?
Right?
And I was
Nobody.
and I was
Yeah.
legit selling stickers, and it's funny because it says Jimmy Sticker World. And
That's
Nice.
later on, I ended
amazing.
up selling stickers kind of with Juan,
Mhm.
and I never even put two and two together. Like that didn't even connect in my brain that I was doing that back in middle school or
That's
even
amazing. So
elementary.
You and Juan were doing that together? Is that what I heard?
Not this one.
Not that. Okay, okay. I was like, oh
It's
shoot.
just as an adult, or
Oh, I got you.
I
Yeah,
ended up selling actual proper stickers like vinyl,
yeah.
machine, plotter, cut out, and then we were used to do
Ah,
merchandise and whatnot. So, but looking back, it's like, oh, it's crazy. Like I ended up selling stickers, and that's like, but it were like
that's
completely different
amazing.
ideas and reasonings behind it. But
Yeah.
I don't know. From day one, I've always been like a hustler. Whether I
Mm.
would sell my own things, like when CDs were super hot, I used to make like hundreds of dollars in CDs, burning CDs, music.
Yeah.
Um, then when I was in high school, I had a little job with a neighbor. He had a landscaping company, so I used to work all the weekends and just make money and just buy shoes
Nice.
and really
Nice.
that's really what I would use most of my money for, just clothing and shoes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I mean,
then
so
I don't know.
yeah, no, that's so it's just so funny because, the people that I know that have been successful like yourselves, in business, a lot of times I'd say a good portion of the time they got stories like you, like early on wanting to do, selling stuff, not even really necessarily knowing you're an entrepreneur. You just know you want to make money, right? So that spark is there, and I don't know, it's almost like it kind of obviously it has to be there, but
I'll
I
tell
just
you this,
find
I did have enough success early on that the maths just never made sense. So it's not
yeah,
necessarily that I wouldn't and would have worked for somebody.
yeah,
It's just because I was doing the sticker thing with Juan and the whole merchandise thing when I was 21, 22. I don't even know how old I was, but
yeah,
fairly young.
yeah,
And we were making like near six figures.
yeah,
Nice.
that's amazing. Yeah,
Like,
that's amazing.
like them near no job is gonna start you off at six figures. And if
No,
it's like, so I was already like, and mind you, this is my newbie entrepreneur brain, right? Like I was making six figures gross. Like
Yeah,
if you ever
yeah,
look at my net, who knows? But you couldn't tell
yeah,
me otherwise, right?
yeah,
You couldn't
yeah.
tell me like I probably would have made more money at McDonald's. Who knows? But
Hey, and let me ask you one, would that have mattered to you? Like, so we heard kind of Jimmy's story. Like, what about you? Was it kind of something early on for you too? Like you just knew that
Um,
you wanted to be in business for yourself?
yes, but my road was different. Um,
Right, right.
when thinking about entrepreneurship, I definitely had it in my blood from an early age. I remember at church when I was like young. I remember the first thing I sold was jello. I made like a whole jello, and I told my mom like, "Hey, if I put this in cups, I could sell it at church." You know, when she was
There
like,
you go.
"Okay."
There
So
you go.
I did like little things like that when I was a kid. Candy. I remember when I was in middle school, Halloween came around, got a bunch of candy. I'm like, I'm not gonna eat all this candy. So
Let's sell it to my friends at
yeah,
school.
so I started selling
Yeah,
Nice.
candy.
yeah,
Obviously, I had to wait. I had to wait until everybody ran out, and then
yeah.
and
the
then
candy
That's
got old,
amazing.
it was stale and stuff. Like, hey,
She sell it at a discount, right? It's a little
yeah.
stale. Here's a
I remember
25%
candy was
discount.
my little hustle in middle school for a little while.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
parents took me to Sam's Club. We got the bulk, and
Yeah, there you go.
mind you, my parents were paying for it, so I was straight profit.
Yeah, it was just all profit for you.
My parents would ask me to pay for it one time. I was like, "Whoa!" So,
That's
that was the
hilarious.
same thing with me with the CDs. I remember going to Costco and buying like 100 a rack, and like my stepmom bought it for me. And I was like,
Yep.
yeah.
You're like, yeah, it's all profit, baby. Hey, here we
so
go.
I had like that little entrepreneur spirit in me as a kid, but when I became a teenager, probably have a similar story to many people. Like I worked at McDonald's as my first job. From there, I worked like a little part-time job somewhere else, and then
Mhm.
my infatuation and probably one of the things that connected me and Jimmy like in high school was sneakers. Like we were big into sneakers,
Oh,
right?
nice.
So
Yeah.
one day I told myself like, why don't I apply for Foot Locker? So I applied at Foot Locker and I got a job at Foot Locker. So I was
That was
ecstatic.
like a
Oh,
sneakerhead's dream. It was like,
Yeah,
yeah,
oh,
Foot Locker.
yeah.
I
You
was
kidding me?
ecstatic, you know.
Yeah.
Now I could get the sneakers and I can get them at a discount. So it was just like the best dream ever.
Best of both worlds right there for
Yeah, but
sure.
I ended up working at Foot Locker for 11 years though. You know, I went through the ropes. I became a manager in Florida. And that's where me and Jimmy met and
Nice.
kind of grew up was in Florida. But I'm originally from New York, so as a young adult, I moved back to New York. And the security that let me move back to New York was I still had a Foot Locker and they were willing to transfer me to another store
Oh, nice.
in
That's
Brooklyn.
that's actually pretty rare from what I
Yeah, so that was cool. So I came to New York already with a secure job,
nice.
and but the entrepreneur in me was still like always in the back of my head, like how could I do something? How can I do something?
Yeah.
But it's kind of hard when you start putting like overhead on top of you, right? Because now I had to pay
Yeah.
rent and I got to pay car and I got to pay cell phone.
Yep.
And, you know,
Yep.
I moved out of my parents' house kind of young.
Yeah.
Um, and so I did that. I did that for 11 years. Became a manager at Foot Locker. I ran like all their big stores. Like towards the end of me leaving Foot Locker, I ran like the two biggest stores they have in New York City, like in Times Square
That's
and
amazing.
so
Yeah.
I did that for
And
for 11 years. And
and that's good experience. So you got that team managing
exactly,
experience
yeah.
from that. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. And so, I tell people this all the time, whether it's New York or California, and it seems to be those two specific places in general. But I say if you're going to come to California or if you're going to go to New York, you better have a plan. You better have a plan, right? So for you to be able to move back, managing those stores, what was the most valuable lesson you learned from that whole part of your
Um,
growth?
for sure, it was just team building. Like
Team building? Yeah, yeah.
yeah, because I in Florida, I would run a store that grossed $1 million. Yeah,
Mm,
$1 million a year, and to me that was like a big deal. It was like me
mm,
and like 10 employees, call it. But
mm.
when I came to New York, I would see those stores, and I'm like, we're talking about stores that make five. The small stores in New York make like $5 million.
Yeah,
Average stores make
yeah,
$10 million, and like the big stores make like 20 million plus, right?
yeah,
So when I got
yeah.
to the 20 million plus level, we're talking about hundreds of employees.
Mm,
And like if you don't know how to build that team, if you don't know how to keep the culture in the team up and alive. If you don't do that, you're not running a successful store whatsoever.
Yeah,
So that's probably like the biggest thing I learned: leadership, and team building. And
that's amazing.
oh yeah, I was very lucky that I got surrounded around some really good people at Foot Locker. Like
Yeah,
my other peers, the other managers I work with, they were excellent people, and I learned a lot with them, especially like I
yeah.
said, the team building.
That's amazing. So let's fast forward a little bit. So you guys obviously know each other. You've gotten your experience from some failed entrepreneurial things, some successful things, working for places like Foot Locker. Let's move to how did you guys get into the real estate world? What was that like?
So for me, a little bit of my background was I basically did my own marketing agency for over 10 years. I would say
Yeah.
2010 until 2020-ish.
Mhm.
And even a little bit after that. But by 2020, I was just kind of burnt out with the industry.
Mhm.
In hindsight, 2020, I was just choosing the wrong clients.
Yeah.
But I was dealing with small business entrepreneurs, small business owners, and I kept running into two different outcomes. One, they would fire me because they weren't making any money from my efforts.
Mm.
But in reality was, let's say I would generate leads for them. They didn't really have a system to follow up with the leads and call the leads and close the leads and sell the leads, fulfill. So it was kind of like, a brand new business owner. There's a lot of things you got to figure out. And somehow that was like they just expected to hire me and somehow money's going to show up in their bank accounts.
Oof.
Um, they didn't really have a process on how to go through or properly work with somebody like me.
Yeah.
And the other side of the coin was I would crush it. They would kind of keep up, but they would kind of fire me on some, hey, thank you. You kind of like, we got everything that we need now. It's almost
Yeah.
like,
Goodbye. Goodbye
yeah,
after
like,
that.
cause
Right.
like we are where we want to be. Like, we're not looking to become the next Fortune 500 company, right? So it's like, all right, so
Mm.
they're all with me. So it's either like I was getting fired basically either way.
Either
Either
way.
crush it or if they will fail. So it was like, what the hell?
Wow. Wow. And
And
that was your marketing company that this was happening with?
yeah, and again, this
Yeah.
is hindsight 2020. This
Yeah.
is I was choosing way too small of a client.
Mhm.
I'm talking about a mom and pop solar panel company that maybe had
Right.
like three employees. It was like the
Right.
owner and like two salespeople, and the owner sells two.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Like I had a trophy company at one point. I don't know. Local
That makes
shop.
sense though. That makes sense. That makes
Yeah.
sense for sure.
And some of them weren't even receptive. Like the trophy shop, I'm like, you need to put this online. Mind you, I come from selling merchandise stickers and making a bunch of money from online stores. That's really how we made our money. We would
Yeah.
make stickers, merchandise, and we would post it on eBay, Etsy, and Amazon. And we would just get sales overnight. Like we would just wake up, oh, we got
Mhm.
sales, fulfill, and that's it. Like we wouldn't really do anything.
That's
We
the
would,
best.
we would create the merchandise and whatnot, ship it and all that. But as far as marketing, the stores, the websites do it for you, the
Right.
marketplaces. So
Right.
like I would tell them like, hey, you need to be on this, you need to be on that, and they wouldn't really be receptive to it. So I'm all right, whatever.
They didn't have big enough dreams, man. They didn't have big
Yeah,
enough dreams for their business, for
100%.
sure.
So towards 2020, I was just burnt out. So I'm like, man, I want to switch. I want to do my own business that I can control from A to Z. Because
Mm-hmm.
marketing is your own business, but then you're at the mercy of
Client.
client. And
Yeah.
again, hindsight 2020, I probably should have just leveled up my clientele and whatever. I would have been fine.
Hey.
But I shifted and I almost started a credit repair company.
Mm-hmm.
I was like super deep into that just because
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of passionate about credit repair, especially
Yeah.
the business funding side of things. I was like
Yep.
very into that.
Yep.
But as I started learning about the industry, I just kind of like fell out of love with with the business side of things because you're building a business
Mm.
that depends on making money from people that don't pay their bills.
Interesting. Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and I knew enough about marketing that I was learning enough that I want to make a lot of money from each client or enough to justify building a team because that's another thing that kept me in my other business. I wasn't able to grow because I wouldn't charge enough. Again, hindsight 2020. I thought I was making a killing, but I wouldn't
Yeah.
charge enough, which then wasn't enough to go hire somebody to be able to delegate and then be able to grow myself.
That makes sense though. That makes sense.
So when I was looking at the credit repair, I'm like, man, like the most people charge on this industry is couple $100 a month, maybe 1,000 or two a year. So that means I got to do some crazy volume to even make some decent income.
Yeah,
Uh,
and a lot of them, like to your point, like a lot of them are subscription based like that, and when you talk about business or credit repair, I think I've heard you talk about this before, but it's kind of one of those industries that's a little iffy, right? Because people get locked up into
yeah.
these, right? So talk a little bit about oh well, I'll let you keep going. I didn't mean to cut you off like that, but go
No, no,
ahead.
no, for sure. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely so there was a side of the business that I'm like, like the money, the opportunity didn't seem that great to me.
Hmm.
And then the business industry itself is like weird, is
Hmm.
regulated in a certain way. Like I think
Hmm.
one of the latest legislations is you're not even allowed to sell credit repair over the phone. Like this,
Yeah.
that's how weird it is. Like I cannot
Yeah.
call you and we will have a sales conversation and be like, sign you up for the service. Like that's
Right.
illegal.
Right. Which
It's
is
it's,
why
it's
most credit
weird.
repair it is very weird. And this is why my business partner is going through credit repair right now and is doing a lot of it on his own too. But it's the same thing. Like most of these companies, because of the new legislation, like they can't just outright offer you or sell, credit repair to you. What you actually end up doing is buying like education, and then
Yeah.
the credit repair is sort of like a side thing, right? Or that's how they position it, right?
Yeah,
So
and even then, I believe that's super gray area. That like
yeah,
that's not anyways. But
yeah,
I digress. When
yeah.
I was like getting towards the end of it, like, man, I don't think this is it. I legit randomly saw a Facebook ad from Pace Morby. And
Nice.
and I'll backtrack before I get into that story. The reason that my father and mind you, maybe this is where I got the entrepreneurship spirit from, but my father always been self-employed as well.
Mhm.
He owns a bunch of real estate in Puerto Rico. So
Mhm.
maybe it was just a subconscious inspiration there where like when you ask me when did I decide to not work for somebody, I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I never saw that in my mother did,
Mhm.
so it's not like I wasn't fully aware of employment, but
Yeah.
my dad had an amazing sweet life. I always heard my mom complaining, so maybe subconsciously I was like, I guess
There
this is
you
right,
go.
I want to I want to go do what he's doing. Yeah.
right? So
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know. Maybe it has to do
Nice.
something with it. But point is, my pops always he has a bunch of property over there. So for me, it was like make a bunch of money, invest it in real estate, and then you're gonna make a bunch of money, right? Like whatever, it's gonna
Yeah.
be easier. So that was always my goal: is make money from real estate
Mhm.
I mean, from the business to invest in real estate, and then let's nerd out about credit because I'm gonna need it for real estate.
Yeah.
Um,
They go
just in
perfectly.
yeah, and just in
Mhm.
general. So,
Mhm.
but then I saw a random Facebook ad from Pace Morby saying you don't need money and you don't need credit. I was like, what the fuck am I doing? So I went down the rabbit hole enough that I got into the whole. I was like, all right, let me join SubTo. This whole thing makes sense. I could just buy a property, overpay for the property, and I could still make money as long as I could cash flow the difference. There's an arbitrage there. I'm like, this is amazing. In my brain, I'm gonna be shooting fish in a barrel. I'm just gonna go to Zillow, any property here, I'll pay you extra. And I thought I was just gonna literally like I thought I was gonna have 100 properties on year one.
Yeah. Right.
Um, so that's how I got into
Which is
real
very
estate.
common. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. So that's how I got into real estate. And when I saw the ad and I kind of went through the whole thing, that's when I reached out to Juan. By that point, he had moved out already to Jersey. And we sort of kind of had not split ways because we always stayed in contact and we have a close-knit friend group, but he wasn't local. So I just
right.
I actually hit up the whole group. I'm like, yo, who's interested in getting into real estate?
Yeah.
And Juan said him, and then we had another buddy that ended up kind of flaking. But
Nice.
so
And
yeah,
and
I
what
just kind of pulled him in.
and so Juan, when that happened, had you had any experience in the business funding, credit, or any of that world? Was it still kind of brand new to you?
Yeah, it was still super new to me. Real
Yeah.
estate I had no background in. I remember clearly I was working at Foot Locker when Jimmy texted me.
Yeah, yeah. You're like, hey, I'm
You know what I
down.
mean?
Let's give it a try. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I was just
Okay.
like what really blew my mind at that moment is
Mhm.
he's like, so you want to do it? I'm like, yeah. He's like, all right. I think at that time, don't quote me now because I know the price is different because this is like beginning of Pace's SubTo. I think
Mhm.
at the time it was like $6,500. So he
Mhm.
texted me like, all right, $6,500,
75, 75.
75, okay, $7,500.
Mhm.
Since you're in and I'm in and our other friend Gio, he was gonna do it with us. He's like, we'll split it three ways. And I was like,
That's perfect.
Out loud, what's the real price? And he's like, $7,500. I'm like,
Hmm.
man, there's no way in hell we're gonna give a stranger we never met in person $7,500. To me, that was like an impossible thing, right? He's
Yeah.
like, no, I'm serious, and I'm like,
Hmm.
I've always looked at Jimmy like a very sharp individual. Like whether it's business or not, he's just a very sharp guy.
Hmm.
So I'm like, Jimmy, if you're serious about giving a stranger $7,500, I know you've done all your research in the world on this dude.
Yeah.
And he's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I did, and it's
Yeah.
gonna be worth it.
Yeah.
So I was like,
Here's the funny part about that. So I come from obviously the marketing world, and
Hmm.
the marketing world, anything that you see online that's make money online or make money online strategy or marketing strategy or whatever, like the
Hmm.
people that first exploit that are marketers.
Hmm.
And it's usually marketers selling to other marketers. Like, hey, this is a new funnel that you could do. This is a whole new sales pitch you could do. Or this is this is how you could sell easier. This is how you could get more conversions.
Hmm.
Like we are the first people that experience this. So when it trickles down to a real estate person doing a webinar,
Hmm.
we've been doing that now for 10 years. So
Wow.
like I have a very strong, and I've gone through hundreds of courses on marketing. I've heard hundreds of webinars. I've heard hundreds
Hmm.
of pitches. So I have a strong,
and when
Yeah.
Jimmy says hundreds, he really means
Oh,
hundreds.
I believe it. Yeah, I believe it. And you can see that you can see that when we get into talking about the company Fruitful Funding. You can see that in your community. You can see that in the way that you've structured some of the stuff. You have a lot of deep marketing
When
understanding
when me
and
and Jimmy were
education.
roommates,
Yeah.
you would think like, guys in their early 20s are like partying or like playing video games.
Hmm.
Jimmy was legit listening to courses in his
Oh,
room.
I believe it.
And I'm
I believe
like,
it.
bro, why are you listening to a course on how to generate income for a nail business? Because he's like, well, in case somebody I know wants a nail business, I'll refer this
You know
course.
how to do
I
it.
know it's good
Yeah.
because I heard it. I'm like,
Yep.
yo, this is
Yep.
crazy.
Hey,
That's
man.
legit, Jimmy. Like, I remember Jimmy, you had like a hard drive full of courses of businesses.
I still do.
He knew
Hey.
somebody that wanted access to the course. Like back in the day, people would like bootleg movies and like, oh, I could watch this on my computer instead of on the movie theaters. Jimmy was like bootlegging courses. Like
That's
had,
amazing.
he literally had hard drives full of courses, like literally
Mhm.
hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of courses. And I'm like, that's
I
why
like that
I
though,
was
because
like,
you're looking out for other people. I'm the
yeah,
same way. Like, I'll try something out if
Mhm.
I think it'll help someone else. I'm like, I got time. Let me see what this is
Mhm.
about. Can I
Mhm.
pass this on to somebody?
yeah,
Mhm.
that was
Because
Jimmy with courses, and he was like,
Yeah.
"This is knowledge. This knowledge can, if you actually put execution behind it, could be worth millions." And I'm like, That's true." But yeah, to answer your question though, when he told me about real estate, or like at that time I didn't know nothing about funding. I knew Jimmy
Mhm.
knew a lot about funding, and
Yeah.
the only experience I had with real estate was I had just closed on my first house. But again, I went like super traditional, got a realtor, got a regular mortgage, went through the bank. At the time, I
Mhm.
was working W-2. My wife was working on W-2. So everything was as traditional as possible. So when I
Right.
heard Pace talk about all this other stuff, I'm like, I didn't even know none of this
Just
existed.
blew your mind, right?
Yeah.
And by
Um,
the way, my point with the courses thing was that when I heard Pace's pitch, if you will,
mm,
I have like a sixth sense now when it comes to people and pitches and everything. And
yeah.
I'm like, this guy knows his shit.
Yeah.
One, I'm intelligent enough that I could kind of take his words. I'm like, all right, this strategy makes sense. I get it. Subject to you take over the mortgage. Yeah, why wouldn't that be possible? But
Yeah.
then I could read beyond that, the words, and I could see his energy behind it, his confidence and everything. I'm like, oh yeah, this guy knows his shit.
Mm-hmm.
So I just have that little sixth sense really now that I've gone through so many that I could always tell like this guy's full of shit. He don't know.
Yeah.
He's just
Yeah,
saying
and
words.
plus Pace is a brilliant marketer as well. So I know you kind of saw
But
that
but
probably
this
as
was
well.
early on. Like we
Yeah.
were. I think he had like one video ad, and like this is very early on.
Yeah,
This is not the Gator. Gator didn't exist.
right.
yeah,
CC top tier
Right.
CC didn't exist.
90%
Um,
of what you see today didn't exist.
yeah.
nothing,
Yeah.
none of it.
He
No,
just
you
comes off
should.
so genuine though. Like
Yeah.
when I found him, it was through a Tony Robbins Zoom.
Mhm.
Um,
Like that
and
was already 5 years later.
Probably it
Yeah.
was a few or so.
Not
Yeah.
probably, I'm literally telling
Yeah.
you. Because
Yeah.
we were like 2019, 2020, and he did
Yeah.
the Tony Robbins thing like a year ago.
Yeah. He did
No,
like,
it was longer than a year ago. It was longer than a year ago. It's
yeah, I
been
think
a few 4 years or so since the Tony Robbins Zoom that
Or
was on.
I missed it then.
Yeah,
no. So
because I
he,
was
yeah.
with a supplement company. I still am. I shouldn't say was. I'm with a supplement company, and part of our training was the Tony Robbins Zoom. They had us go on there, and Pace and Cody were on there. And they didn't even really mention much about real estate, I don't think. They were just talking about community and everything. And I'm like, I really like what they're saying because those are the type of people I'm looking for. I want to not only help myself, but help others. So many people are struggling and stuck in 9 to 5 jobs. They can't stand them, right? They're miserable. And it was making me miserable being around these people. I'm like, how do I help everyone not be miserable? And I
Yeah, I
looked
know.
into them, yeah. And from there, it was just like, oh, okay, cool. This is about real estate, So,
Yeah, I think Pansy, I know I think I know exactly which one you're talking about with Tony Robbins. So, and Jimmy, you're right. It was about the one that you're thinking of where he actually presented, he got up on stage and actually did his presentation. That was the one that I saw was about a year ago. So you're
yeah.
definitely right about that. But the one where Pace was a part of it and he was promoting it, and so his name was sort of with Dean Graziosi, he was kind of like promoting it. There was another one that was probably like 3 years ago, something like that.
Yeah, it was a while
Uh,
ago, and there was
yeah.
he had several speakers come on, and it was just a Zoom at the time.
Yeah.
It was all just Zoom because I think it was during COVID when it really was going crazy and everything like that.
Oh,
So,
that's it. And that's exactly when I started when I found Pace. Now you said, Jimmy, you joined like I think you joined like a month after Pace. It was something like that, right? Like
Yeah, it's
legit,
funny.
like a
You could
month
see it.
after Pace.
Yeah, you could see it on the school on the Facebook community. When you click on his
Yeah,
profile, you could see
yeah,
when he joined his own group,
yeah,
and then you could
yeah,
go see my date. And it was like,
yeah.
yeah, it's months apart.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, all right. So you found Pace, you found real estate, you and Juan come together as business partners, start doing deals, and you realize like, hey, this business funding thing, what now were you doing wholesaling at all? I think you said you were doing wholesaling for a little bit, and that was kind of your that money was all to put into new deals, right? That money you're getting from wholesaling was to help fund some of your deals, right? And then you kind of got over that process.
We did it all. We did it all from
Yeah,
day one. We started wholesaling. Like
yeah, yeah,
we didn't start with any intentions of doing anything else.
yeah.
I mean, we always wanted to build a portfolio. We always wanted to keep properties, own properties.
Hmm.
But wholesale was definitely like, all right, let's dip our toe in the water with this first. Let's
Right,
let's just get a contract and sell the contract.
right, right,
So we definitely wholesale and we wholesale till we stop doing real
right,
estate, really.
We
right.
wholesaled until we found our first SubTo deal, which we couldn't wholesale because it was negative equity.
mm.
Ah, yeah, yeah. Well, and then so talk to me. How did you guys start Fruitful Funding? Let's get into that. Let's talk about like at some point you're like, hey, this looks, this business over here, one, you're already helping people get funding, right, Jimmy? I think you're already sort of getting that proof of concept by helping people. And then talk me through that.
Yeah, so we did real estate for about 5 years, 2020, 2025, give or take, maybe 2024.
Mm,
And we did wholesales, fix and flips, we did Airbnbs, we did co-living properties, and we did a bunch of different deals.
mm,
We funded all of our marketing with business funding.
mm,
So I also happen to document a lot of it on Instagram and social media.
mm.
I used to do this thing called Day in the Life of a Real Estate Investor, and I would just literally my
That's right.
stories. I would just post literally what I'm doing that day because the way we kind of ended up evolving into was Juan was more because Juan is in Jersey, I'm in
Mm,
Central Florida. We were marketing to Central Florida, so just
mm.
naturally I'm the local guy, so I'm the boots on the
Right,
ground.
right.
Um, So it ended up evolving into Juan being more of the phones, closing, getting the contract, and I'm the one project managing flips and kind of doing things locally. So I just naturally had more stuff to post on my social media. So I would just kind of document like, hey, today I'm going over here, looking at different cabinets, whatever. So people kind of loved it.
Right.
But I will also go to every local meetup. For some reason, most people, I don't know if it's Florida especially, but I know a lot of different places have a lot of different meetups. Like I don't think people
Yeah.
realize how many meetups. Like
Dude, I
in
know they do in
my
Jacksonville. I know they do in Jacksonville for sure.
and I have a list that I put
Yeah.
together because there were so many that people would ask me like, "Yo, where are the meetups?" I'm like,
All
shit.
over.
I literally have a list of like,
Yeah.
I don't want to exaggerate. I'm gonna say like 10 to 15, like
Hmm.
legit meetups that you could go every month.
Hmm.
Um, Free, most of them. I think there's
Yeah.
like one that's paid and it's like $100 a year. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, but anyway, so I would go to a lot of meetups. So basically,
Hmm.
a lot of the people that were following me be like, "Yo, I saw you did that and that and that. Like, congrats." I'm like, "How are you funding all these deals?" And I'm like, "I use business funding." They're like, "What do you mean? Like, what's business funding?"
Hmm.
So I never really like paid much. I didn't think people didn't know about this stuff. It's just like, how did people not know about business funding? But again, I was kind of like, I almost started a credit repair company. I have a credit repair, not credit repair, but like just credit and business funding experience before that.
Hmm. Hmm.
I think I got my first credit card when I was, I don't know, 2000, like when I was doing the t-shirts thing, which was like 10 years ago. That was my
Yeah.
first credit card that I used for business. And once I was able to leverage that for business, I'm like, well, let me get more. And so I
You're like,
just
this is
went down the
great.
rabbit. Yeah, I went down the rabbit hole like 10 years ago. So I don't know. I wasn't even paying no mind to that, but people kept asking me like, how you funding these deals? How you funding this deal? How you funding this deal? And not only that, I see people every single day on Facebook groups, on whatever. Guys, I have this deal. I need $500 EMD. I'm like, how the hell you can't get 500
500
bucks?
bucks. Yeah.
Like you could get
Yeah.
that so easily. Like, what's going
Yeah.
on here? Like this
Yeah.
whole gator concept never makes sense to me because I'm like,
Mhm.
you shouldn't need a gator
You
to
shouldn't.
lend you
Yeah.
money to
Yeah.
lend
But
you 2 grand or 5 grand. I get private money. I get that, right? Like
yeah.
eventually you run out of money, you need bigger and bigger amounts of money. But like if you're
Yeah.
struggling to find $500, you're just doing a lot of things wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I agree. I
for
agree.
starters, I've never done a contract that needed that much EMD. Let's just
Right.
start there. So,
Yeah.
but that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
Um, but anyways, we just kept getting the same question, like, hey, so I started helping people. I'm like, business funny, started helping people. And then slowly, I think I seen maybe one or two people online because I'm a marketer at heart. So I always keep my eye open to new business opportunities and the way they're like the way that one said, why are you watching a random course about nail salons? Like I still do that.
Hmm.
Like I still watch some random thing about random thing because I'm like, maybe I could pull a nugget out of that that I could implement in this whole new industry that nobody's doing.
That's amazing. Yep.
So I randomly saw a guy running ads basically for funding, business funding, and I'm like, I do that for free now. I didn't even know that was like a industry. I didn't know you could charge for this.
Right?
And so that opened up my mind, and then I don't know. I started helping enough people for free
Mm.
that whatever the seed got planted, and eventually I was like, it's funny. I kind of went rogue on Juan and on my team. I literally disappeared for like 6 months to the point
Nice.
that because we used to do like morning huddles and we used to do stand-ups and catch up with everybody, what's everybody working on, and
Yeah.
we will always do that every morning. And then out of nowhere, I'm like, yo, I'll be back.
I'll be over here. I'm gonna be over here doing this, learning
Yeah,
this.
I was basically like, I'll be back. You guys hold
Yeah.
down the fort. And And I was basically, that's where I started creating the offer and pitching people privately and just shaping it and shaping it and shaping it to see if the idea had legs. And long
Mhm.
story short, we decided, I'm like, all right, this thing, it proved out itself enough, easier and better than any business I had done before then. Mind you, I
Yeah.
gave you maybe 3 out of fucking like 50.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I even had enough experience. I'm like, all right, this thing is taking off at a different speed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the
And
opportunity seems great. So I don't know. So that's kind of how we got into funding.
so I really love this story because you got your proof of concept just organically by helping other people get it, right? Helping other people get funding, helping people understand funding. Did it surprise you at all, like initially when people ask you like, how are you getting the funds for all of these deals? Did it surprise you that people had no clue about business funding?
It still boggles my mind because
Yeah,
I have to spend just as much time educating people on the idea of it
yeah, yep,
to then educate them on why they should hire me to be the guy versus everybody else. Like usually, like if you're hiring a painting contractor, you're trying to choose who's the best painter.
right.
I'm over here like, no, there's this thing called paint. And like, oh, they're like, oh shit, paint. I get it. Okay, but now I'm the painter. They're like, no,
Mhm.
but so it's like
Yeah,
gotta have like
yeah,
two different conversations with people. It's like first I gotta convince them on the paint, and then I
yeah.
gotta teach them like, all right, now I'm the best painter. So it's like
Oh man.
yeah, I still gotta go through that, but
For me, it did and it didn't because
Mhm.
I was surprised that they didn't know about it, but I also wasn't surprised because I really didn't know much about it neither. I just knew that we had it because Jimmy had it.
Right.
We're a
Because
team.
Jimmy knew about it.
Yeah,
Sure.
so to me, I guess I took that for granted. I'm like, cool, like I could just lock up whatever deal because I know Jimmy, like we have the money because we have funding. But when I
Yeah.
would talk to other people, what started
you
scaring
probably
me,
experienced how trust fund kids feel. They're like, yeah, we could just. What do you mean
Yeah.
you can't just buy a Bentley? Like, what do you?
Yeah.
but what really started shocking me is when I started finding out that other real estate entrepreneurs didn't have a Jimmy on their team. They
Mm,
didn't know how to go get it if they wanted to get it, and that's
hmm.
when I was like, yeah, we just how did you do that? Like, oh yeah, we just use the fund, our our funding. And like, what do you mean funding? I'm like, bro, you don't have business funding? What? So how do you do
Yeah.
deals then? So
You're like,
I
how would you be
mean,
able to do anything without it?
how would you, that's,
Well, not everyone understands it. Like I'll have to say, like business and funding and all of that stuff is still a lot that I don't understand
yeah,
about it. Um,
now that we work, I work on one-on-one clients because that's really what my focus in the business is getting the actual funding.
mhm.
Uh, I see it every day now where
Yeah.
things that you think are very, 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 very standard, like no, they don't have a clue. So I'm like, wow. So
Yeah.
You
if
know
Yeah.
I
what it really is though? I don't think is that people don't understand that they can't get a business credit card. Like I'm sure you've seen or heard of a business credit card.
Yeah.
I think the idea that people don't understand is you can get one on a brand new business. I'm talking about days old with no income, no revenue, no nothing. So it's not that they don't
Yeah.
understand there's business credit cards or loans or whatever.
right.
There's a long list of products that you could borrow money. People understand you could borrow money.
Yeah.
People just don't understand how easy it is to do it if you set up everything correctly.
yeah,
But the banks want to lend you money if you don't present yourself as an idiot.
the banks are dying.
Yeah.
If the banks don't lend you money, then they wouldn't survive themselves. So they're dying to lend out money.
Yeah.
Yeah. They just want to, they want to lend to people who are not a high risk of not paying them back, for example, right? You
Yeah,
need to look like you're a good risk for them to take, right?
right.
So what would you say is probably like the biggest misconception that people have around business funding or business credit, especially like new entrepreneurs that you see?
I would say that's it, that they think it's impossible to get.
Think
Um,
it's impossible to get, yeah.
They feel like they need to be already generating a lot of,
Millions of dollars, yeah.
especially
Yeah.
like I don't know why they really think they need to be generating millions of dollars or from
Yeah.
before they can go get that, and that's so far from the truth. I guess another misconception too is I think some people just believe that they can just get it without having like a strong foundation, right? Or
Right.
like some people think like my personal credit is already toasted because I toasted it and I didn't care about it,
Hmm.
but it's okay because I won't do that to my business credit. Like
Mm.
that's gone
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
You
I to your point, Juan, I would say a lot of people think that they need or at least some of the people that I talk to, a lot of people think that they need perfect credit. They need perfect personal credit in order to qualify for funding. Um, how true is that? I mean, how true is it on the personal credit side, like that I need to be that my credit profile needs to be like perfect.
you need to have good credit, but you don't need to
Hmm.
have perfect credit.
Right.
Um, I was
It
speaking.
depends. It depends what you got to ask them. Define perfect credit
Define perfect. Yeah, yeah.
because
Yeah.
my definition of perfect is 850.
Yeah.
Their
Yeah.
definition of perfect is I got a 650. I'm rocking and rolling, baby.
Yeah.
And to me, that's horrible. Like,
Yeah.
so you gotta ask them what they call perfect, because you
Right.
need to their language, usually you need great credit. So
Yeah. Yeah. And what would you say is the most common mistake you see people making with business credit or business funding?
honestly, to me, the real biggest mistake is just not starting the process.
Hmm.
People think that you got to go 0 to 100 immediately, meaning I've been able to get over $1 million in funding. So if they see my story, they're like, I don't want $1 million in funding. I'm like, you shouldn't get $1 million in funding because you probably wouldn't know what the hell to do with it.
Not that they can't
Right.
get $1 million in funding, probably, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
but
a really good point.
that's not even the point, because they don't even consider that.
Yeah.
They assume, oh, I could get a million too, because they think it's like when you go to the gym. They just assume you're
Mhm.
gonna work out once and now you're gonna look like freaking Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like, no,
No.
you gotta work your way there.
Yeah.
But I think it's they're not starting. I think people get scared, and you could do this very methodically, very intelligently, very
Hmm.
strategically.
Hmm.
But there's things like one thing is, for example, another big misconception is that you don't need personal credit for business funding. That's one of the biggest misconceptions. They call it PG, personal guarantee. Most
Hmm.
banks, every time they give you money, they're going to ask for a personal guarantee because you don't have nothing else to show for. You don't have millions of dollars in income. You don't
Hmm.
have millions of dollars on assets. So sure, the banks are willing to give you money, but bare minimum, at least promise me you're going to pay me back.
Right.
That's
Right.
literally what PG means.
Yep.
So people think you don't need anything. So you do need some things. You need a proper business entity structure and you need decent credit, because that's just your reputation. Like, show me that you're somewhat responsible at least.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a really good point. I really like the point you made that, yeah, you can go get $1 million, but let's say you went and got $1 million, would you even know what to do with it? Right? And earning that position and learning that process is really, really important. I mean, because now let's talk about how much business funding have you been able to get, Jimmy, for yourself?
last I counted, I was at 1.8, no, 1.08. So
1.0.
$183,000, something like that.
And that wasn't all at once, right?
No, Lord,
Right?
no. And
Spread out
and
over
you know what's
time.
the crazy part?
Mhm.
I haven't even really gone crazy pushing the limits, because I've gotten all the easy stuff.
Mhm.
But there's a lot more to go get,
Right.
especially once you go. So there's like sections that I mentally categorize things. And there's a section called no doc funding, which is they're not going to ask for tax returns. They're not going to ask for anything. That's like the super easy stuff, or the
Mhm.
online stuff where you can just apply online and you get it, versus I got to go into every single branch in person. So I kind of
Right.
bucket things into different levels of
Right.
effort or
Right.
difficulty.
Right.
So I've gotten all the online stuff. I've gotten all the no doc stuff for the most part, but I have yet to really tap into anything with documents. And I have documents. I have income. I have actually assets. So
Mhm.
it's just like I got to put all that together. I got to go freaking do appointments and whatever.
Yeah,
And a
but
lot of times I don't even have the need for it because I already have the million. So like if I do a flip, I use the 50K, we finish the flip, I pay off the 50K. The 50K is
and
still there. So it's not like
yeah,
it evaporates.
and
Uh,
that's what I really like about your. I'll get into this, but that's what I really like about, or one of the things I like about your program, is that you don't need to go crazy, right? Like you didn't need to go crazy. So you got that 1.08 million in business funding, and that's help fund multiple deals for you guys. And and then you just keep
another thing,
reusing
I
it.
got that doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Like
uh,
to give you perspective,
mm,
my first credit card, which is the one that I was using for shirts and whatnot, I think they gave me $5,000.
okay.
My first business credit card, that was a personal. My first business credit card, I think they gave me like $8,000, and I was like, "Oh crap!"
Well, yeah.
My wife's first credit card, because I knew what the hell I was doing, I think she got like 50,000 credit, $1,000.
Wow.
Like
Nice.
her first one credit card was more than I think my first like 10.
And is that because you helped her get it set up the right way from the beginning?
Exactly. Yeah, I did
Right.
everything
Right.
perfectly for her.
Right. No,
Everything was perfect. So she got to 100 grand in funding. I think with like 2 or 3 credit cards, like barely anything. And I had to grind my ass off to get there just for limit increases and not knowing what the hell I was doing it
I
wrong.
wonder why they do that because I feel like it was the same way with mine and my husband. Like my husband technically had the income and he was offered, a small amount on a credit card. And then I applied and they gave me more. And
Mhm.
then I got another one in the mail trying to give me more. And he's like, what the heck? You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
they're giving you the cards, but I'm the one with the income.
Yeah, the income actually, you'd be surprised. Income matters very little when it comes to lending. Like your credit, if you have an 800 credit score and you make $0 a year, you will get more money, you'll get more funding than a person that makes $1 million a year and has a 500 credit score.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
Like
crazy.
it's not even close.
yeah.
Yeah.
I would say, yeah, I mean, the income side of it is, I mean, look, banks look at something like 800 or so different data points, depending on who you're going to, right? And we can control probably like what, 20 to 50 of them, right? Of the various data points. But income, yeah, is like, that was one of my first misconceptions. It's like, hey, I need to have a certain amount of income before they're even going to look at me. It's like, no, no, actually, you don't.
Some of my
So,
first credit cards that were what I call now crappy limits, I literally put $0 on my revenue.
yeah, that's
I was
amazing.
like, yeah, I don't this business. Oh, this business is brand new. I make no money, and they still would give
Yeah,
me like 5 grand.
yep, yep,
Um, and nowadays we actually, because when you actually look at the thing, it says household income. A lot of times it's not even like the actual business income.
yeah,
So I could have used my personal income, or I could have used whatever I make from different businesses, or whatever. You could kind of put it together different ways, but
yeah,
that's
yeah,
what I get. That's my point. Like you don't even need really to make money, but the credit has to be right. And for me, I started learning about credit very early on because back then when I was doing the whole t-shirt thing, I just happened to want to get my own phone and I was under my mom's cell phone plan, right? And I was like, Mom, I'm gonna get my own phone. She's like, yeah, but get it on your own because I don't want that on my number, whatever. I don't want to be responsible. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'm making almost 6 figures. I was like in the 80, 90K range. I'm like, whatever. I could buy a phone cash. But I try to go get it and do like a normal. I think at the time they were giving away iPhones. It's like as long as you sign a contract, you get a free iPhone. I'm like, yeah, let's go. It's free. And I got denied. And I was like, what the hell do you mean I got denied? Like I could buy this thing cash right now. So that's kind of like like what is your origin story? Like that's my credit origin story. When I was like 17, 18 years old and I was like, what the hell you mean I got denied? For a
yeah. That's
phone? How can I
so
not buy a
funny.
phone? This
That
is
is
like
so
30 bucks
funny.
a month. Like
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's so funny. That's exactly what happened to me. I walked into Verizon. I was gonna go buy a new phone. They're like, we can't finance you. I'm like, why? Well, because your credit sucks. That's why. And so I was talking to the guy behind the counter, and he actually gave me a gold nugget. He's like, you know what? And he's probably was doing this because a lot of people get denied. He said, go get a secure credit card. Go to your bank, put 200 bucks down, and then, spend on that card for like 2 or 3 months, maybe a little bit longer. But if you do pay it off every day, you come back here in a few months and you'll get your card or you'll get your phone. And
mm,
so I did it and it actually worked. It actually jumped my credit up probably, I don't know, like 100 so points, right? Just doing that. Because I was low. I was in like the 500. I think I was in like 550. And then by the time I went back there to get my phone, it came up to that was about roughly about 650, 670, something like
mm.
that. So it jumped up quite a bit. So that's really, really interesting. And after that happened, you just kind of it was kind of like I need to know as much as I can about this and get my own credit fixed up as best I can, right?
Yeah, I just started nerding out about it. And for the next, I don't know, call it 5 years or whatever, I learned everything there is about like personal credit. Um, and naturally, as you're building or learning about personal credit, depending how far down the rabbit hole you kind of go, which I'm the type that goes down the deepest rabbit holes there is online,
Same.
like Reddit forums and whatever. Like I just fully nerd out.
Hmm.
I started seeing people talk about, yeah, business funding because there's this whole community called credit card churning. It's like a term.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
all they purely focus on is signing up for credit cards for the sole goal of getting the sign up bonus. Because sign up bonus is
Oh,
kind of like free money. So
yeah.
so you could sign up, get the 500, $800,000, $1,500,
Mm-hmm.
and then literally cancel the card like a year later. Like that's literally like there's
Mm-hmm.
people that live off this. Like this is
I
like
thought you didn't really want to cancel a card though.
Yeah, but
that's a whole different conversation.
they're doing it with a
Yeah.
way different purpose. They wanna extract that bonus, that
Yeah.
free money, and then like some of the strategies, like if you cancel it for long enough, you can reapply for that same card in X amount of months and get the
Yeah.
bonus again.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Which
Yeah.
is interesting because kind of like closing a card can have a negative effect, or having a card.
So in this case, it doesn't because a lot of them. So what I was getting at is churning, credit card churning.
Mhm.
It goes into they just want to get the sign up bonuses, and then they
Mhm.
start exploring what's the biggest sign up bonuses, business
Yeah.
credit cards. So they kind of start going into the business credit cards and just gaming the system to get the biggest sign up bonuses. But when you cancel a business credit card, it doesn't report on your personal anyways. Most of them, there's a few that do, and we just stay away from them. But most of them don't report, so it doesn't affect you the way that you're thinking. The only thing that you
Yeah. Which makes
don't
sense. That makes sense.
the only thing that you get is a hard inquiry, which they're not too worried about. That kind of
Right.
falls off eventually, anyways.
Right.
So they are more worried about is the yearly fee, which is why they cancel a lot of times. If the card doesn't have a yearly fee, they might keep it around because it usually has some kind of perks or whatever. But the biggest bonuses usually come from credit cards with the biggest yearly fees. So if you go for like an Amex Platinum, you might get $800 to $1,500 bonus, but the yearly fee on that is like $695. It's probably more now. That was last time I checked.
Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting.
So for them, it's just math. Okay, I get
Yeah. Yeah.
1,500. The first year is 600. That means I profit 900, and I'm gonna cancel that puppy before the renewal.
That's
So, and
interesting.
mind you,
Yeah.
you do that times 10 credit cards, you just made an extra 5, 10 grand.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. And I can see the attraction to that, wanting to do that strategy for sure. So really quick, we're getting towards the end of the show, and I really want people to know about your program and about where we they can find it. Obviously, guys, if you're watching this on the replay, we're gonna have links to everything. So you can go into the links and find, their program. But let's just say real quick, I'm a brand new customer of yours. What does that process look like with you guys? Like I'm a business owner and I need business funding. I'm a brand new customer. What is that process? Maybe just give us a high level and then and explain what that looks like.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's a great question. And it's funny because a lot of people, they always, I'm a marketer, so I'm like going out of my way to build a somewhat automated selling machine system
Hmm.
that requires as least as possible phone calls and selling and all that, right? So I try to like give you all the information you need or whatever. And a lot of people want to get on the phone call with me because they always feel like they have a unique situation. And this is what I've been this is the way that I've been wording it now lately. There is a million unique situations. There's only one way to fix them.
Oh, that's it.
AKA,
I like that. I like that.
AKA, however your situation is coming into the funnel, you're gonna go through our process no matter, I don't care where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I don't care what your credit score is. I don't care what your background is. I don't care what industry you're in. We have now over 10 years put together a process, a proprietary process that I just don't skip it because every time I skip it or I take somebody, like for example, if step one is like optimize personal credit. We have 9 steps. And I've done this multiple. How's your credit? It's great. Awesome. Let's skip it. We don't need to worry about that.
Yeah. And then you find out,
Again,
nope.
earlier we were just talking about what's their definition of awesome credit, right?
Right.
So nowadays, I don't skip it. I have a very straightforward 9 step process. Step one is we optimize your personal credit. If you need credit repair, that's different than optimization. But either way, we can help you. That's just kind of like step zero, I guess, if you were to look at it, credit repair if you need it. If not, then step one is optimizing, which is different. I break it down in the free course that I think Justin mentioned earlier in the conversation, but I have a whole free course that you guys could get access to for free. But I break down the difference of optimization. Um, Step two is either starting or optimizing your business. Step three is building a custom roadmap and sequence for funding for you, that's where your situation might make a little bit of a difference. And it's really more like what's your location, what banks are around you, and maybe what banks do you already have a relationship with? Because we might prioritize those because they just like you more because you have a history with them.
Right,
Um,
which makes sense. Yeah,
Outside of that, which that could honestly change a lot, even the geographical location. Like we have clients in Hawaii that their bank availability is a lot different than somebody in New York. It's like night and day.
sure, sure.
So we create the roadmap of the funding that you should get, it could get, and we take into consideration your goals, how much funding you're looking to get, blah 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 blah. Step four, we start getting you funded. Um, it's funny because I'm gonna get to step seven eventually, and most people do step seven like at step 3 or 4, and even
Mhm.
the order of our system is very deliberately
Yeah.
designed that way for a reason.
Hmm.
A lot of people in this industry, they start building what they call business credit, which is net 30 accounts and a bunch of bullshit that you really don't need, or if you need
Yeah.
it, you don't need it right now.
Yeah.
So they delay your funding sometimes for years.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
where
That's something that Jimmy brought up just for folks watching. Like that's something Jimmy brings up in the course, in the free course. Talks about a lot about that. But it's one of those things that you think you need all of this, and you spend all this time trying to build up that corporate credit. He's talking about the Paydex score. For those of you guys who don't know what that is, well, you can learn about it. But you don't need to do all that. Is the point, right? Yeah.
100%. And because here's the thing, paydex starts mattering more when you come into business lines of credit and business loans. And mind you, you don't need them to get that, but they do help. I'm not gonna say they don't help.
Yeah.
But for credit cards, you don't need it at all. And here's another thing. Most people don't qualify for credit card or for lines of credit and loans anyways, because most of the time the LLC has to be 2 years or older to even be
Right.
considered.
Right.
So meanwhile, you're building all this business credit you don't need for the credit card. You could have gotten a credit card day one.
Yeah.
And so,
And you
and
spent.
the business credit cards a lot of times bills your paydex. So a lot of times you can even skip the whole net 30 account building situation, depending how many credit cards you get on the front end. If you go light on the credit cards, then maybe you do need a little bit help on the back
Yeah.
end. But
Yeah.
just to run through the steps real quick. Step four is we do actual applications and we get you money,
Hmm.
0% interest funding. That's what we call it, that stage, which is mainly credit cards. Um, then we do cash extraction. So we convert plastic into cash, especially because we deal with a lot of real estate investors. So a lot of times to be able to close on properties, they need the actual cash. We teach them a bunch of different ways to avoid needing the cash, though, because a lot of people think they need cash for a lot of things that they don't. So that's a whole different conversation. Um, and then step number 6 is cleaning up inquiries, which allows you to go backtrack to step number 4, apply for more funding. So it kind of creates a little mini infinite loop there of funding.
Hmm.
Step number 7 is strengthening business relationships, aka building that business credit further. That's when you maybe start diving into net
Yeah.
30 accounts and building those trade lines.
Yeah.
Step number 8 is refresh my memory, huh?
After strengthen profile, it is
Oh, more funding. Diversifying funding. That's the step, which is now let's go get lines of credit and
Lines of credit.
loans and
Sure.
other types of funding beyond. So step 4 is 0% interest funding, which again is usually credit
Credit
cards.
cards. Yeah.
By step 8, now we start, and in my course, I have this thing called the money iceberg where I break down like 20, 30 different categories of funding, and then under each of those categories there's like another 100 products. So there's
Yeah.
thousands of lending products out there. Business
Which
credit cards is like one out of the thousand.
Yeah, which I really like that for and again for those of you who are watching, we'll give you the links to their course. But he goes through this in the course. One of the things that really helped me is having that visual of the iceberg and the various different types of funding or types of credit that you can get. And actually, credit wouldn't even be the right word. It's just different types of funding that are out there that are available to you. And
There's
the
five
one,
big categories and credit is
yeah,
one of five.
credit is one of five, and like the biggest and most untapped ones are people don't even know about, right? So,
100%.
yep, I love that. I love that. And so you were on step 7. So now we're
That
diversifying.
That was step 8, and then step
Oh,
9
step 8.
is,
Okay.
to me, is like the most important step, which is really the strategy of using the funding, which we call funding coordination. For
Really
our real
important.
estate people, we have this concept of transaction coordinating.
Yeah.
Um, we have this concept of transaction coordination. So I kind of stole that and I created the same thing for funding. Um, and I don't know, maybe it becomes a thing, but funding coordinating, right? A lot of the deals that we've done, and I show in the course a bunch of different deals, real deals with real HUDs. And I break down how I funded each deal. 9 times out of 10, you're rarely going to fund one deal with one funding source.
Right. Right.
Especially when you're super early on and getting scrappy. So that's where funding coordination comes in, because for a fix and flip, for example, we might use hard money lenders to fund 95% of the purchase price, but then you still need that other 5% plus closing costs and holding costs.
Yeah.
So how do you fund that? We use hard money loan for 95. The other chunk, we use business funding, or maybe private money lender, or maybe a combination of all three. Um,
Right. Right.
so funding coordination is, how do we take all this money now and strategically deploy it? And you could do that with us, whether it's privately or in our community. We have a call for our clients that we call the Funding Club. We
Mhm.
kind of named it after the Fight Club movie, and the logo is like the soap and everything. But
Nice.
um, but yeah, that's literally a live call that we do weekly, and people just start talking about the deals. Like, I'm doing this deal. How do I should I fund it? Or I'm having, in, like, for example, like somebody recently, they have like 150K in 0% interest cards that are about to expire. So
Mm.
they were like, "What do I do, Jimmy? Like, I don't want to pay all this fucking interest." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Shoot." So we're starting to come up with a plan with that to kind of help them transfer the money, because it's not as easy as just go apply for a bunch of other stuff, because now you have a bunch of credit cards that are maxed out. So
Right.
you got to go about it a very specific way
Right.
to be able to get approved, because if not, it's just automatic denials. But
Now, are those balances on business cards? So he's got balances on a whole bunch of business
I
credit
believe
cards,
most of his, I believe most of his are
personal
business. No,
or
I think
business? Okay.
business.
Okay. So he's got these business cards maxed out, and he's like, "Hey, what do I do? They're going to be coming up on the interest pretty soon. We need to move this money over." And because again, that's one of my misconceptions. Like, oh, that's what people talk about is you get those 0% credit cards, you get those introductory credit cards, you max them out, and then you just roll it into the next one. You roll it into the next one. It's like at a certain point, the bank's probably going to notice that, I would imagine, right?
It's not even so much the notice. Is at a certain point you're gonna run out of options to run it on, to roll it over to.
Sure,
Um,
sure.
People like to paint the picture that you could get infinite funding, and that's not reality.
Yeah,
Reality is that most banks have this thing called maximum allowable exposure of how much money they're willing to give you as a person. Is
yep,
tied to you as a person, as your personal guarantor, meaning it
yep.
doesn't matter if it's through 5 LLCs or one LLC, they're still willing to give you but so much money, period.
Right, right.
So you have to be strategic of how much money did you get before and how much money is still available to us for the
Mm,
future to roll over.
hmm.
So you got to be smart about that. And in
Yeah.
his case, a lot of the funding that he got before he even started working with us.
Oh, interesting.
So
Yeah.
he didn't necessarily maybe lay it out as smoothly as I would have,
Right,
because I try to think about that kind of stuff ahead of time.
right.
So, but
Yeah.
whatever. Like, we kind of work with this is kind of going back to the your situation. It's irrelevant because now shoulda, coulda, woulda. Now
Yeah.
it is what it is, and we got to deal with it. Because, like, oh, you should have done this. Like, whatever. It's too fucking late now. So
Yeah. Exactly.
so now you just got
Yeah.
to deal with your current situation. So in his
Yeah.
case, I believe he is going to tap into a little bit of personal funding on the
Hmm.
loan side, because the loan doesn't hurt your personal credit score as much as a credit card.
Right.
It doesn't get factored into utilization, so you could still keep a healthy credit score.
It's good to know.
And even though it's not 0%, he might pay 8% versus 30.
Yeah, it's cheaper. It's still cheaper money.
Yeah.
Jimmy, Juan, I really, really appreciate you guys coming on here. We're towards the end of the show, but I really want people to look you guys up because you guys got something going that is I really like. And I can tell that, Jimmy and Juan, you guys have really thought this through. And one of the best options out there that I've seen so far of actually helping people legitimately get funding, and you're not trying to sugarcoat any of it. There's a way to do it. We follow this process. If we follow the process, you're going to get the results you want. So I really like that. Let's go before we end the show. What is you're in the school community, so people can find your course in school. What's the name of that?
It's called Fruitful Funding, but the best
Hmm.
way that I wanted to give them access, let's just
Hmm.
do this. Text me the word FWB, Friends with Benefits,
Hmm.
to 407-974-6300. That'll go personally to me to my cell phone, and I'll give you an invite and give you access to the free course. By the way, guys, like we're not course gurus. The course is free. There is no course upsell. The only offer that we make after the course is for us to do our service for you. So we help you get funding. It's a done for you service. But yeah, there's no course to sell. So we literally show you exactly what we do internally to get you and help you get funding. Some people rather hire us so it gets done right the first time. Because one
Hmm.
of the big things with funding is there's no redos. This is not like when you do a marketing campaign and it fails. Oh, well, let me tweak it and then let me try again. Like
Right.
that doesn't really work when you go to Chase and you say, this is what I'm presenting. Oh, never
Yeah.
mind. I'll be right back. And then I'm going to come back and like it doesn't work that way with lending. So
Right.
with
Right.
One shot.
lending, you kind of got to you got to nail it or you just got to live with whatever results you got on your own because there's
Yeah.
no backtracking.
Yep.
Um,
Love
so
it.
so yeah, but the course shows like I go down the 9 steps that I mentioned. I break down how they all, why they all matter, how to what do you do at each step and whatnot. So you have the option to do it on your own. Like there's literally no sweat on that.
Love it.
But if you want to hire us, then the offer will be there. We also have the free community. We have 2 free weekly calls. One of them is a higher level strategic call where we're just trying to get people unstuck. Because a lot of
Mhm.
people are like, Jimmy, I get funding. I would love to get funding. I just wouldn't even know what to do with it. I'm still trying
Right.
to figure out if I should wholesale, should I fix and flip, should I get an Airbnb? I keep hearing the Airbnbs are going down. What about
Yep.
this co-living thing, Section 8? They're just
Yep.
confused. So we have those conversations
Super
live
helpful.
in person because a lot of times the businesses they'll make money. It's just like what's best for your personality. So
Right.
we just
Right.
mastermind together and do that. That's a free call. We have another free call called Funding Hot Seat that one host, and he
Yep.
basically does a live audit of your business credit report and your
Yep.
business itself. So he tells you like, hey, you're good to go, or this is what you should fix. Again,
Mhm.
free value. We're not making any money from that. Uh,
Huge, huge value. The hot seat Zoom is just I was in there just a few days ago when you guys were doing that and huge value. Like you guys, Juan goes through people's business and personal profiles and shows you what to look for. So it's just very, very valuable. And that can all be found in school, right? For people who are
yeah, yeah.
have the
Just
questions.
text me the
Yeah.
FWB to 407-974-6300, and I will send
Sweet.
you by myself.
Great.
Awesome,
There's
man.
no automation set up for that, so
That's
just
awesome, man.
just wait for me to
Hey,
respond. I'm gonna see and I'll get it to you.
that's
Nice.
awesome. All right. Well, listen, I really appreciate Jimmy and Juan. You guys, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for
Yep.
having us.
Of
Appreciate it.
course, of course. We need
Thank
to
you.
we need to bring you back on and have some success stories. Have you talk a little bit more about some of your success stories and go through that. I would love to have you guys back on at some point. But thank you again. And I'm Justin. This is Pansy. This is the Friends with Benefits podcast. Thank you guys for being here. We'll see you again next week. Same bat channel. Maybe not the same bad time, but we'll see. We'll see you guys soon, though. Peace, guys.
Later.